Alaikum. I'm here with Maheera Abdul Ghani, who is gonna be sharing her experience with us. She is not only a postdoc at Cambridge right now, but also a founder of Winsci Pakistan, which promotes STEM access to women all across Pakistan. She is also an active science communicator who is followed by around 14,000 people on LinkedIn and 11,000 on Instagram, which is like a lot of people. And she's also part of the Scientia magazine's advisory board. She has not only pushed for boundaries for women in Pakistan in multiple aspects, from being the first female Pakistani graduate from Cambridge in material science and metallurgy, to now not only being shortlisted but also being selected as the winner for Nature Science Award 2025 in the outreach category. So before we get to that, because that's a huge topic in itself, maybe Mahira, you can tell us a little bit about your background, where you started, and like the earliest memories of things that made you you right now.
Thank you so much for a kind introduction, Abeer. So I was born and raised in Lahore, where I studied. I did my early education there, and I was always interested and curious towards engineering and science. And I chose further maths, mathematics, physics, and chemistry for my A levels, and that led me to join engineering during my undergrad. And I did material science engineering and metallurgy. So in Pakistan, we have focused undergrads that focus on metallurgy and material science. That gave me an outlook on the advancement in materials, and I was totally amazed at that. I wanted to join. So I applied for different schools, and I got Erasmus scholarship, and I started my master's in Germany in material physics at TU Darmstadt, followed by a master's in microelectronics. It was based around electronic devices and materials in France. Following that year, I got PhD at Cambridge and started my PhD in material science at University of Cambridge. And I just graduated earlier this year. So I concluded my 10 years of education in material science, becoming material scientist. So that is what I am. And I've been always fascinated by materials. That is something that I love a lot.
Wow, like huge congrats on that. Is definitely a difficult journey. I'm also a PhD student here, so I know the struggle of being in the lab. In fact, I'm also in the lab right now. Um,
And I
but
did
you
my
mentioned,
experimental PhD, and
uh,
my master's by research was also experimental. I really
wow.
liked doing experiments, and I
Uh-huh.
loved it and pursued it. And during my PhD, it was super intense with the experiment lab. And now I'm moving away a bit from lab work, so I think I had my
Mm,
fair share of experiments.
yeah. Oh, and you mentioned that you took advanced mathematics in A levels, and then you also pursued in undergrad, which I believe is from UET. So
Yes.
talk about this because as a female, but also in engineering or metallurgy, it's not easy to start, but it's harder to continue. So what made you want to pick this field specifically, especially since I'm pretty sure it's probably male dominated?
That, yeah, it is quite male dominated, especially overall engineering subject in Pakistan. But now, since I have moved across four countries, engineering is
Yeah.
more male dominated around the world. And I feel I was quite attracted and also curious about
Hmm.
being in engineering, material science, studying that. It just gave me quite an interesting outlook that I was genuinely interested. That,
Hmm.
oh my God, this is super cool. And doing work on something that you felt cool is very
Yeah.
nice. I mean,
Could you share like a memory that's linked to that, like so that we can also experience kind of what you found to be cool that kind of started you in this entire path?
I think now I can give answer much better than before. I never understood why it was I was attracted, but I think generally I have a very technical outlook on things. So I
Hmm.
love when things are explained by theories and scientific principles. So I would like to always find the reason, okay, if something's happening, for example, if a material is behaving this way, what could be the reason, what laws are applied? So I think
Hmm.
I just like that everything can be explained by a logical reasoning and a scientific reasoning. And I think that's how my brain normally works in normal life as well. while a lot of social sciences and other subjects are very theoretical based, but here
Yeah.
I can really explain things with science and it makes it super cool. And material science kind of gives you break into different departments, like whether it's electronics, mechanical, civil. You can do a lot with materials, whether they're biomaterials that goes in
Hmm.
your body or in your industrial internet Internet of Things devices.
Yeah.
I actually started my undergrad 3 weeks in architecture. So I quickly understood that this is
Oh,
something that I'm not really attracted towards.
yeah.
Although people might say that my personality looks like I should be going in architecture, but I really like material science and I
Mhm.
topped my class. So it explains that I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Two-time gold medalist, I believe. Like you got two medals. Like that's amazing.
Yes, I was given two. It's in UT Lahore. You get
Yeah.
medals, so I got one from
Yeah.
tobacco.
So my brother, I believe he graduated from mechanical engineering from UT Lahore like a year ago. So I
Oh,
was like,
nice.
wow, a small world.
Oh, really? That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and then talk about the Erasmus experience because you were in Germany and France too, right? So I'm pretty sure it must have been a little bit of a culture shock or a little bit of a different lab environment. And what are the things that kind of helped you adjust to the environment or the lab uh, and everything?
Germany and France were quite a different experience for me in the start because I never actually lived in hostel also. I always lived with my
Oh,
parents. So it
okay.
was my first time going outside my home, outside the comfort zone and
Hmm.
experiencing that. But I think inside me, I was really looking forward to experience something like this.
Hmm.
In the start, it was really nice, but eventually you feel the culture shock. The
Yeah.
COVID happened 6 months after I went, COVID happened. So that was kind of like a shift, but I was really looking forward to meet friends and meet different people. So I really made very nice friends. I just became a part of the community very well and very
Hmm.
soon. It takes time, but I do have quite a big support system from my home, my family. So they always supported me, and I actually wanted to
Yeah.
come back. I was so scared, but they kind of like said that you can do it. And then I felt like I am enjoying this in terms of courses, assignments. I'm doing well in my studies, so it just
Hmm.
falls in place. But I would say it does not really come naturally.
Hmm.
There's a lot of hurdle in terms of being alone and being in COVID and
Yeah.
finding your way because Germany do not really speak English, so I have to
Hmm.
navigate that. And I was really 21 years old, so
Yeah.
I think I had my fair share of getting sick, being
Oh.
alone. I think this is very normal, and I didn't realize that this is something. It's a hard thing that I didn't really take into account when I was so excited to just move abroad, but then I realized it is not easy. I've seen my friends who couldn't cope up with this and they moved back. And I think I also had a similar plan of coming back, but sometimes there are other things also planned for you. I got Cambridge offer right afterwards, and this is something
Wow.
that I said like, okay, maybe I should go on with this. So I was ready to come back to Pakistan. So I
Hmm.
was always ready to come back to Pakistan at many stages, but then things
Yeah.
always happen for reason.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that people take for granted. Like so I'm also from Lahore. I also moved out for the first time when I came to the US, and it's so hard. Like people don't talk about the homesickness. And for me, what helped was pushing myself to keep on socializing when you just want to get into your own shell. So I feel
I
like
think
that's very important.
I think it is important, but also you need to protect yourself, also not push too hard, have a
Yeah.
balance. I really enjoy my company now. I lived for 6 years alone. So 2 years
Whoa.
of master's, 4 years of PhD. I could never imagine that I'd be doing that during COVID, three different
Hmm.
countries. I had COVID thrice. I was sick alone. So
See?
there were a lot, and I was like stranded in so many train stations many times wrongly because of life.
Yes.
So and I'm moving my apartments, moving luggage from
Hmm.
one room to another. There are so many physical, mental struggles,
Yeah.
emotional struggles. I wanted to put myself out for socializing, but also I wanted to protect my mental comfort. So I would
Hmm.
really give myself time. But I was really hard on myself initially. I just learned to give myself time. Now I
Mm,
enjoy my coffee time, my time for myself. But the reason is that major part of my life has always been towards my work. So
mhm.
that keeps me going always.
Yeah, I can see that. I've been looking through your Instagram. You have like amazing content and just makes the person want to join you in the lab and be working with you.
I think I don't do that much. I should be doing much
Uh,
more. I always thought like Instagram is something that is my stress dumping site. I have a lot of things that going on my life parallelly, but I just put 1% there to just relax.
Yeah.
But most of people in Cambridge I meet, they do actually share their real journeys.
Hmm.
I don't think I'm there yet, perhaps maybe, but I should be sharing more content. Maybe my Instagram do not really reflect my stress level, but that's okay.
Yeah. And what about the research environment and everything? Because I can imagine, um, so I'm a graduate from FC. So when I went from FC to a lab over here, that shift was huge. So what helped you transition in that shift? And I know that you're a very hardworking person, but if someone's listening and they also want to join a lab abroad or somewhere else, what are the main three tips that you would give them?
Um, I did I mean, I did few experiments in Pakistan. I was at UT Lahore, and you can see I moved immediately abroad same
Hmm.
year. So I did not have much exposure being in Pakistan. All of my papers are abroad as well.
Hmm.
So I think in Pakistan, in undergrad, the basic learnings and in the lab, I liked UT Lahore material science department labs. They were modern built, so it was nice. Of course, there were cultural barriers. I mean, meeting people, working in groups with them, and there are some, you have to deal with technicians, you have to work with the facilities available. So I think I could adjust to that, but then in Germany, when I moved abroad, I liked the way their experiments were and their protocols were made and everything. I really enjoyed that. So I spent big amount of time, like 2 years in lab at Germany and France, and I had quite involved supervisors. They were really on my
Hmm.
progress, and they really kind of made me good experimental scientist. So I would go in there every day. I would have my outcomes, and it really uh, the what you say, it really gave me understanding of how it should be done.
Hmm.
So it really taught me how I should progress on experiments, how I need to record them. So I think for me this shift was okay. Sometimes it happened that you have to handle very expensive piece of equipment, which more happened in my PhD. That was a bit of the
Hmm.
thing. I felt if I make a I damage something, or I ruin a sample or an equipment which is worth 300,000 pounds or dollars. That was a my scare, but
Yeah.
okay. But PhD is normally very, especially if you're a PhD experimental, it is very demanding. So I would say
Hmm.
for 3 years I caved in. 3, 4 years I caved in. I think I would say my PhD was very hard.
Oh, yeah. I know that, so I'm in the middle of my PhD, but I listen to, a lot of podcasts and stuff, and they mention that when you're doing a PhD, it's very critical to separate the outcome of your results to your self-worth. Because if you're failing or if you're succeeding and your emotions kind of fluctuate with that, it can be pretty detrimental on your entire journey because
Yeah.
with each
Uh,
failure, you just go down.
it happened so much. I am just glad that my PhD phase is over. Because I think no matter what I do, it's really hard to disconnect myself
Yeah.
with the experiments. And I did PhD in material science, which is physical sciences school of Cambridge, and it's
Hmm.
very critical. Our presentations are extremely demanding and critical, so we have result updates every week, presentations every week, and we
Oh my
nearly
gosh.
we are very kind of very leading group in around the globe as well in our field. So there is a certain level of standard that we have to meet.
Yeah.
That put a lot of stress and pressure. So I would always work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I
Wow.
think coming home at 5 p.m.
Crazy.
was something that was not usual for me doing my PhD.
Yeah. Yeah. If you went back to the entire like start of the PhD, would you do that again, like that same grind, or this? Would you do something differently?
I don't know. I mean, I think the grind was not easy, but what would I do is differently would be um not being hard on myself too much. But I think it's very difficult not to be hard on yourself because you want to be hard. I think being hard
Yeah.
on myself was something that kept me pushing.
Hmm.
Things fall in place, but you don't know at that point. But I think just keep believing in yourself. I think I
Hmm.
was very scared in the start.
Yeah. I have like my friend gave this to me after I passed my qualifying exams, like a huge believe, and
I
that's
know.
just on top of my desk.
I think believing in yourself is very good. I never thought that I'll be able to publish in
Hmm.
my PhD in good journals and everything. And things happened. I think, yes, doing PhD really taught me a lot of things. I think one
Yeah.
of the most learning experiences of my life.
Hmm. And that's worth something because you've had a lot of experiences.
Yes, I think PhD specifically at Cambridge and
Hmm.
being alone and being away from family and experimental and in STEM as a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
It
A
was
huge challenge in
interesting,
itself.
right? As a
Yeah.
South Asian woman who where normally you don't go into experimental fields.
Yeah. Um, so I was looking through some of your past interviews, and you mentioned that I wish I had a penny for every time someone from Pakistan says your field is so specialized and nothing is relevant, matlab scope and everything. So I'd love if you could talk a little bit about that, and because I feel like we link scope to what's already existing without considering that you're the one who builds scope.
That is also correct. And the other thing is in Pakistan, the idea around doctorate and PhD,
Hmm.
I am just I'm just learning that it's a very different idea. So I left I mean, I haven't been really associated with Pakistan education system since past 6 years, but I did my undergrad there and my
Hmm.
family's there. So I do have the idea. But the idea is that you do PhD when you are late 30s. And I don't know, people have some kind of stereotypes associated with being a doctorate. And why would you do a doctorate? You need to have work experience first. While here, everyone around me, my age, I'm 27, they are PhDs. Everyone start PhD at 23 and they go doing good jobs in science. So there's a very huge kind of gap. And second gap is people thinking that I did PhD in material science or in that topic. It's very specialized. While it does not really mean that you need to keep working on the same subject for the rest of your life. I
Hmm.
have seen PhDs started with something, ending up on another thing. I also started my research in something in Germany, and I'm really doing something different now.
Hmm.
So I think in Pakistan, people think you have done electrical engineering, you'll die doing electrical engineering. So I don't know. I think the idea is that if I've done material science engineering, it means that I can understand scientific things, I can implement it, I can do related because there are a lot of related fields that can
Hmm.
be helped. So if someone is in mechanical engineering, they might have done different courses that can help them in different jobs. So I think this idea, I think the understanding of PhD is quite different for general public in Pakistan. I'm just realizing this now. So everyone will say that what is your job and what are you going to do in Pakistan and everything. While I do understand in Pakistan because my area now is semiconductor electronic devices. In Pakistan we are not there yet, but there's always room for something. There are courses, there are jobs to where you do teaching,
Hmm.
or now I'm involved in commercialization and innovation. So there's always room for different things. So that's why I think we think in very narrow sense.
Yeah, and I feel like that's perfectly okay. We focus on one person starting and ending with that thing so rigidly that there's no
Yeah.
room for growth. And I know that in this world, at this point, it's very important to have a niche you're good at and you specialize in, but it's also just as important to expand your outlook and connect to different fields. Because the person who, for example, I'm in biotech, if I know bioinformatics and if I know a little bit of chemistry, connecting to those fields will make me a better candidate at whatever I want to do.
Now that is true. That
Hmm.
is very true. And I think I would also say that you should be expert in something.
Yes.
It's not that you jump from things to thing and you're not
Yeah.
expert in anything. So there has to be a balance where you are an expert in something, but also you do have kind of a little bit more broader expertise in that area. So
Hmm.
like I'm a material scientist, so my expertise are still material science, but in that I have learned a lot of things. So I wouldn't say in material science I'm just focusing on 2D materials for my 10 years. So I couldn't do, I mean, people do that. They are academics and
Hmm.
it's good for them. I love that. But I think there are a lot of other things that you learn. PhD gives you very transferable skills. You
Yeah,
understand how to code a project, you understand how to uh, get your deliverables. So it's a very managerial training as well.
yeah. And I feel like sometimes people have a very narrow understanding of what a PhD will end up giving you, but it's not only a training in that specific field, but it's also a training in your resilience, your ability to
Yes.
learn and create
I think
systems and follow through and like figure out what the solutions are to complex problems that probably nobody even thinks about.
I think the biggest learning is resilience in PhD.
Yeah.
It's the biggest learning. I think be
Hmm.
resilient in the face of failure.
Yes, that's so true. I totally agree with that. So, in this time, you mentioned that you would work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., right? But you're also doing Winsci Pakistan. Was that something that started after your PhD, or were you able to integrate some science communication or those efforts too? Because I know that you've also been part of Scientia's advisory board, but you've also been part of giving webinars for the internships themselves.
Yeah, so basically it's Winsci, Pakistan, and
Hmm.
it actually started before my PhD when I was in France and during COVID
Wow.
time. So during
Okay.
COVID time, I was at home and this is something that I wanted to do because I saw a clear gap that,
Hmm.
oh my God, that what kind of information is out there for a lot of women who can do a lot of science. And I actually had exposure to different school girls, and I understood that they don't really know much, that there are
Hmm.
different career options in STEM. So this was something in my head, and I studied in France, and people came on board with me. Some of them I had team, and of course, I had very close teams as well. My sister is there. I think it started, and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. routine became more by my second year.
Okay.
Before, I think it was still there. I was doing literature review experiments. But I think during my PhD, I would give more time on weekends. That is for me. Like for weekends, like Saturday today, I would give time to Scientia, Winsci, do my a lot of other works, and 5 days are for my PhD.
Hmm. And Sunday
I
for
think I
relaxing.
go to an afternoon. I go to office on Sundays because I like to plan my next week.
Yeah, wow. Mashallah,
Like
you're very productive.
I was also living alone, so what should I do?
Yeah. No, I understand that you need to fill up your day, otherwise you're just binge
Yeah.
watching stuff or just wasting time.
I would binge watch a lot.
Yeah.
I would binge watch a lot. I think if you're living alone, it gives you a lot of time though. I binge
Yeah.
watch, I do. I think it's a lot of time. I would also socialize, but if you're living with family, I think it
Yeah.
takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it has a limit. After sometimes you do get fed up of living alone.
Yeah. So the thing that you mentioned just now has been something I've been trying to apply for the past few weeks, which is 5 days work on like lab and stuff, and on Saturday shift towards science communication and also extracurricular activities. So it's very interesting to see that you have been doing that, and this is something I just started doing.
I would say I didn't do that for a very long time. Like
Hmm.
for if I had a paper to publish, I have to do experiments, and for six
Yeah,
months
of
I have to
course.
do anything.
Yeah.
I think maybe 6 months, after 6 months, 3 months, I would do something like this. But with Winsight, it's something that I would fill in during the weeks
Hmm.
also.
Yeah.
If I need to do meeting, I would do after my experiments 4 to 5, 4 to 6, or
Hmm.
5 to 6 p.m. If I'll have a break, then I will catch up on them. So I just fill in the things. I don't really define timelines anymore because
Yeah.
like a lot of things happening all together on me. So
Makes sense. Could you
I
tell me
would,
more about Winsci, like how it programs, and is it mainly in Pakistan? And then how are you managing it? Because I know it can be so hard to manage something if you're not actually there physically.
yes, Winsci Pakistan basically is an initiative that uh, aims to enable and empower young girls, especially in school, to go into STEM fields. We started with mentorship programs and some STEM courses based on coding, also programming and
Oh,
Python.
wow.
And we have been running for 5 years now. We have a lot of schools come in, we have a lot of girls come in with their parents. So it was really nice to see that. We were really doing with volunteers a grassroots level with
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. And I would say that my sister is an IT engineer in
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan. One of my sisters in Samsung in Sweden. So we are three
Wow.
scientists. So we are very passionate about science.
Yeah.
So I do have a help. I would say those two, my sisters really help me. So it's three of us together. And since one is in Pakistan, so she overlooks physical
Mm-hmm.
aspects where she has to go. And then we have volunteers who help us. It is hard though. Um, but I think it's going fine. I think there's some things that I need to connect or make people come on board that I do from online, like email them and ask them that if they can join, or if I'm making a team or hiring new interns that I do
Mm-hmm.
interview online. So those things I can do and manage, and other things physical, I have a team that works there, so it's helpful to have them.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you also won a grant for Winsci, right?
Yeah, so I got the Nature Inspiring Women in Science Award
Yes.
for of course outreach and being a
Yes.
scientist as well, and that is to take insight forward as an initiative, which is a very nice validation for outreach. And it's a very huge platform for us to be on. The whole Nature Award team has been really supportive, and they want to help us take this forward, which is very big for Winsci, and we want to now expand it.
Mm-hmm.
We will be looking to contact and be in touch with educators, people who are interested in this, because now we can really expand our team. So this is
Mm-hmm.
something that we would be looking to do in this year.
Yeah. That's amazing. And first of all, like I was talking to with Sadek on this, and we were like, "Oh, Maheera Abdul Ghani, Dr. Maheera has been shortlisted," and then I think a few weeks later, she was like, "She just won," and I was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
I was shortlisted 13 people,
Yeah,
and we had two winners at the end. And yeah, being the winner and also winning the prize, $50,000,
amazing,
is crazy.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
it was the whole ceremony that happened last week in London. It was one of the most empowering events I've ever been to, meeting other women in
Wow.
science. It is just like such a big validation for Winsci
Hmm.
Pakistan to be on, and I'm just super grateful.
Hmm. Were the shortlisted people also there?
Um, So there were runner-ups also. So
Okay.
few runner-ups were there and few shortlisted. Not everyone was there because it was all around the world. There were applications from all around the world. But I was fortunate that it happened in the UK. Otherwise, I
Hmm.
have to move to another country to attend it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone came from Mexico, South America, different places.
Hmm.
So shortlists were really around the world. So some of the other
Amazing.
shortlists were there, but it was mainly to celebrate two winners. So
And like, if we talk about this, and I know that when you look back, you can somehow get things in more of a specific order and understand how it started and which point you're at right now. But what do you think was the top things that made you stand out for that award? And it's perfectly fine if you don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's something that in your mind that stands out that made you stand out from all the other shortlisted people.
I after talking to a lot of others,
Hmm.
which were really good applications, I believe the idea that we are focusing on having young girls think about going into STEM in Pakistan
Hmm.
was something that really touched them, because people do a lot of outreach for undergrads, for mentorship of women who are already established, but targeting the girls who do not know that there are scientists out there and making visible to them, I think this is something that really light, and they wanted us to grow. So basically,
Yeah.
they saw that we are really in our early stages, and their award would really push us forward.
Hmm.
So that's, I think, what made us stand.
Wow. And if you mentioned that you're willing to, or like you're gonna be looking to expanding this, so how can people reach out and connect, or even be part of the mentoring programs, and get,
Yeah,
or even get their students to be a part of your program?
Yeah, we are contacting, our team is contacting schools in Pakistan, but we would be doing a lot of social media campaign
Hmm.
for having more applications. I would really like to get in touch with people who want to do something. We want to establish now STEM digital courses for physics, maths, and different subjects.
Hmm.
For a lot of places in Pakistan where they don't have school access, if somehow our courses can help them, this is something on our plan. I would really like to get in touch with people in Pakistan who are doing that, who are passionate about this, and they can join Winsci with
Yeah,
us. That's very nice.
yeah. And are you targeting mostly rural areas or like main cities? And in these
Are
mentoring programs, you're giving coding classes and everything, but are you also guiding them as like mentors assigned for like a year or so?
So our mentorship program is in very early stages. We haven't given access to mentors yet in
Hmm.
terms of career because that's a very advanced the whole project. We are mentoring in Lahore for the coding program, but also we're doing online lessons by inviting a guest speaker,
Oh, wow.
scholarship scholarship events. Of course, like scientists doing what I would
Yeah.
do, use material science. But we have got in touch with two schools in two rural areas that they're very interested to collaborate with us on programs. So
Hmm.
we are trying to do this this year if we can do some courses with them. They're very happy to have us. So I think our team will go and deliver some courses. We want it to be implemented as a course in a school. We'll see how
Hmm.
many schools will get on with.
Yeah. But looking at all these initiatives from like Winsci to Science Fuse to KSS, Horace Science Society, and then Scientia, it gives me so much hope that we're going
That
in the
is
right direction and we're doing so much to change how we view science and what we can do with it.
Khorsmi Science Society is something that I really, really like proud of as Pakistani that we have
Yeah.
something here. And Dr. Sabi Anwar is amazing with what he's doing, and if we can also follow some of his footsteps, and of
Hmm.
course, Scientia. I mean, Sadika, the way she has built Scientia, I'm really happy to see something happening in science in that
I
space.
love it.
Yeah, I love it too. So I think it's very good to see like be part of these things and also doing
Mhm.
something together with this.
Yeah, you know remember how I mentioned about it being a small world? Dr. Mustafa is actually my PI, like my professor in undergrad, and so he's also one of the main people who's connected with Khwarizmi and Dr. Sabi. So it's
Amazing.
like, wow,
I think if you are in Lahore and if you are in science communication, you somehow
yes,
are connected.
you're
And
all
yeah,
connected. It's a
I
small,
left in 2018, and at that
uh-huh.
time, I was connected with one of the members of Khwarizmi Science Society, and that's how I got linked to other
Hmm.
organizations as well.
Yeah.
And I
And
used to go and teach myself in different schools at that time in undergrad. So
you
that
would
gave
go
me.
and teach?
Yes, so we
How?
had some classes.
Hmm.
So in UT Lahore outside there were some two public schools, and we went group of like we had a small prod kind of an organization UT of this
Hmm.
group of passionate science communicators at that time. All of them are abroad now, so we
Oh,
would go,
wow.
and that really gave me like that was so cool, like talking to these children, and that's how I think I had this thing in my head.
Mm. So the seed was placed at that time.
I think so, yeah, 2017, 2018.
Yeah. And I know you've talked a lot about Winsci and your plans for the future, but like, could you share one personal story, maybe of a student, maybe of you being there, something that touched your heart and made you keep on going with this initiative? Because I know you started this even before your PhD to keep something alive for this long, there must be some internal motivation or like memory associated to it.
I think this the story that I'm telling from 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that time, going to one of the two schools that I went and interacting with kids, I just think that there's so much potential when you are as a
Yeah.
kid. And in Pakistan, they're so cute and they want to know a lot of things. And especially girls, they don't know that you can be an engineer, you can be a scientist. And I
Mm-hmm.
think personally myself, I feel as a woman growing up, I did not see much representation of scientists as a woman
Yeah.
for myself. And I was always like, I need to see at least one, how did she go there and what did she do? I couldn't
Yeah.
really find. I think that's my story that also nature also saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I didn't see any scientists around me. I'm also the first engineer in my family. And then
Yeah.
also scientists in my family. So I didn't see those kinds of paths taken by women
Mm,
around me. And the
yeah.
only path I saw women around me were they did jobs, but I think being at the table where you have a voice and you are in
Mm,
some of the things which is very rare for women to be, that were those were my motivational factors.
yeah. My idea of a scientist came from Phineas and Ferb, you know. What was his name? Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz?
I know,
That
I
was
know.
my idea.
That's cute though. I never
Yeah.
thought that I would end up doing PhD or I'll be a scientist.
Same. It's
I didn't know that. It just fell into place. Like the
mhm,
offers. I mean, God has his own planning as well. I think I
yeah.
always think that there is something that's happening along with your planning. So I do have 70% belief on these things, to be honest.
Yes. I personally I feel like I try my best and then for the outcome I try not to put too much of my hopes on it. Just keep on going and whatever is meant to you kind of keeps on aligning with your
Yes,
path.
that's true, 100%.